With the Mando Season 3 trailer now officially out to the public, a lot of Star Wars fans are beginning to get very excited for what Jon and Dave have to offer, not just for Season 3 of Mando, but also for what's coming for the Ahsoka Tano series. That's really going to set everything up for the next phase of the Star Wars universe at hand. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to exactly what Bob Iger has been teasing, the Disney CEO himself, about the future slate of the Star Wars franchise when it comes to shows and films and other projects at hand as well. That's really going to set up how this new universe is really going to flow and how the roadmap is going to be organized. Now, we already know that Bob Iger is trying to focus on movies again. He wants to bring Star Wars back to the cinemas, back to the theaters again. And I've stood by this for a very long time, and I've been very forward about my opinion that Star Wars needs to stay in the theaters. It does. It belongs in the theaters. Now, that's not to say that I think that shows should be canceled, but shows should definitely be an additional thing, where the movies should really be the main thing in theaters to really attract the fans to see something like as if it's an event. Now that's exactly what Bob Iger recently had something very exciting to tease about one of the new Star Wars movies that are currently in development. Of course, they've backtracked everything that Kathleen Kennedy has announced prematurely. Everything ranging from Taika Waititi's movie to the Kevin Feige movie to other Star Wars films by Patty Jenkins, for example, all of which are falling apart. However, now Bob Iger set up a new slate of Star Wars movies. We've been talking about this for a couple of months now. However, with that being said, with Disney CEO Bob Iger getting ready to focus on expanding the Star Wars franchise, he also is beginning to focus more so on Star Wars movies again to bring Star Wars back to the theaters. Now, in a recent interview with Iger about The Mandalorian, he was questioned about the upcoming films, and he went on to state the following to the fans. "It's a vision of ours. Yeah, of course. We are having meetings every single day about a new film, with the option of it becoming a trilogy. Theaters, of course, since The Rise of Skywalker, and we have some very exciting things coming along with it that's going to carry that spirit of George Lucas. We realize that we may have shifted away from that over the years, and we want to bring that back to the community. It's all about doing something that fans have never seen before on the big screen. We are talking about doing something very different than what the sequels were all about. I have been talking closely with Jon and Dave on the future, and they are also very excited about the conversations that we have been having with our upcoming film that will be the first one since 2019. Now, let me just pause here quick for a second. Now, we already know that Bob Iger has teased an upcoming Star Wars film about a month ago where he said that he really feels that Star Wars needs to go back into the theaters, and that's something that they're working on every single day. And you know what? I mean, a lot of fans may not agree with movies going into theaters again because, obviously, I understand it. Tickets are very pricey these days, especially if you have a family, especially if you're going with a full family. It's going to cost you. I understand that. But at the same exact time, there's something so special about a theater where you're going out, you're seeing it on a big screen, you're seeing it with people, you're just getting that immersive experience. And I think James Cameron actually defended going to the movies a couple of days ago. And it's because when you're in the movies, you have no option to tune out. And I think that's one other reason why films are so immersive in the theaters, is that when you're there, you're there. You can't pause it, you can't leave, you can't do stuff like that. And yeah, some people like that. Some people like pausing their shows and films and, walking away, grabbing something to eat or drink, whatever. But that's what movies make it so immersive in the theaters, is that you're just sucked in because you're dedicated to sitting in one spot and you're just watching this thing for 2.5, 3 hours long. Now, moving on to the next big thing here is what Bob Iger also had to say, is that we are looking to get back down to the basics with this one. Now, separate from what Iger stated, this all alludes to one of the first Old Republic Star Wars movies that's now in the works that they plan to announce sometime during the holiday season of this year to get the fans hyped again. It's a series of films that will involve both Jon and Dave as co-writers with Disney, still on the hunt for a main writer as we speak. Now, note the previous, where Bob Iger says that they are working on a film that has the option to open up into a trilogy. Now, this is exactly how this Old Republic trilogy is going to work out. Now, we already know that the Old Republic is something that is going to become canon fully by next year. They're looking to actually put out a couple of books, put out a couple of comics, stuff like that. And that's a telltale sign also about this upcoming Old Republic trilogy that's in the works. They're really trying to gear things up for that. Obviously, the High Republic did not resonate with fans. Some fans like it, which is fine. If you guys like it, that's okay. I read every single comic, every single book, and it's just not Star Wars to me. I'm sorry. It's just not in that spirit. And, you know, when you look at the High Republic books and the comics, it's very different. It's hard to explain how different it really is. It's so different where it just feels like its own universe in a sense. I can't really quite put the words into it. But overall, what Bob Iger is saying here is that Star Wars needs to go back to the theaters, and it needs to really go back to the cinemas. Now, obviously, I know why he's saying this, is that Disney can without a doubt make a lot more money on a Star Wars project if it's a film, let alone if it's a film in an actual theater. And if it's in a theater, you're counting on ticket sales, you're counting on repeat viewings and stuff like that. So they put that into mind. It's all about creating a quality product that's going to get repeat viewings, and that's going to give them more revenue. With a show, for example, like The Mandalorian or Ahsoka, they're great and all so far from what we've been talking about, but they are relying on subscriptions, monthly subscription prices that people are paying, either annually or monthly or whatever have you. So that's the only downside for Disney on the business end when it comes to only relying on a streaming product. That's why they want to expand to the theaters again, and that's exactly what they're working on. So overall, this big thing that he was able to really kind of talk about this, it really does give you hope that Star Wars is going in a better path. The fact that they are going to stay in spirit with George Lucas's vision, the fact that they are getting Jon and Dave on as co-writers, and how Iger's talking with them every single day, it just goes to show you that Iger, even if it's an act of desperation or damage control, they're trying to get their act together, and at the very minimum, I can respect that. I can. It's better than not doing anything, right? So, we're going to be learning more about the slate of movies later this year, so keep your eyes open for that. It's going to be a very exciting time during the fourth quarter of 2023. Anyways, I'm very intrigued to see what each and every one of you guys out there have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.